Joining me now is a UFC Bantamweight contender who takes on Marlon Moraes in the main event of UFC Utica on June 1st. It is Jimmie Rivera back on the program. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for asking, and really appreciate you taking the time today. So the last time we heard from you, not me specifically, but you just doing, I think you probably on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, you had said that you had moved on from the Moraes fight after what had happened in December, him supposedly stepping up, then not stepping up, and that fight not happening, and obviously you not fighting on that UFC 219 card. You said afterwards you only were focused on the champ TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt, or Dominic Cruz. The burning question, the important question is, why are you fighting Marlon Moraes now?
There are some things that UFC and I worked out that they were able to work with me and give me. So we, it's one of the things we agreed on the fight, and especially that was a main event fight. So we agreed on it. And now that you have TJ and Cody, they're basically going to push that fight. That fight's going to happen. I'm going to, the fight between Marlon and I are basically this is number one contender fight. And can't get denied. If I win, get this win, I can't get denied a title shot next.
So it did take a little convincing from the UFC? Because, again, it seemed like you weren't too interested.
I wasn't too interested in the beginning. I was really just focused on going on my honeymoon. They were trying to push the fight in February, and then, March, I just don't listen. I'm going on my honeymoon. I'm like, we'll make a decision or something. We told the UFC, we'll make a decision and talk about it more when I get back. But right now I'm just going to focus on spending some time and getting a little vacation.
So it's not necessarily that you weren't wanting Moraes personally or specifically. It's just that you didn't want to fight at that time in February.
Well, yeah, I wanted to fight him when he agreed that he wanted to fight me in December and January. He said it was at 140. I gave him 5 pounds, and he said 145. Then he said 145. I gave him 10 pounds. Then they said January 23rd fight. I said, all right, no problem. And then all of a sudden, they sent me a signed agreement for end of February. I said, that's not happening. Just because you agreed with him and on his time, it's not my time. I'm taking my honeymoon with my wife that we planned for. We've been married 3 years now, and we planned and moved it around 3 times. We're not going to move it around again. So we had the honeymoon and enjoyed it and had a good time and came back and made a decision on what we want to do next with fighting.
You guys are, of course, very high ranked in the division. You're number 4 now, and he's number 5. As far as it being a number 1 contender fight, you said that it basically has to be. The only guy that probably could argue that would be number 3, Hofield Assunção. Number 1, Garbrandt, number 2, Cruz are both coming off losses. Have you actually been promised a title shot with the win? Has the UFC said this is a number 1 contender fight, or is that just an assumption? A fair one.
No, they'll never promise anything because it all depends on, at the end of the day, it's a business and what sells. But they're pushing, to make this a main event fight for a Fox Fight Night card. Basically, just kind of states itself as a number 1 contender spot. And right now, you got Cruz that's hurt, and Assunção, they're not pushing for him. I don't know what's going on with him. So it makes the most sense with having Cody and TJ fighting as a rematch. And then myself and Marlon fighting. There's no one else fighting. It makes sense as the number 1 contender spot, especially that, Cruz is on a loss. And I guess you want to say Assunção hasn't done enough, I guess, to get a belt, to get a shot.
Are you getting any other incentives? Maybe you didn't renegotiate your contract ahead of signing this fight, did you?
Well, there was other incentives, but it's not something I'm going to disclose and talk about.
Fair enough. So with a win over Moraes, again, you deserve a title shot. Again, I feel like Assunção might be able to argue that, but you're confident you would get a title shot, even though you said it's not a given for sure?
Yeah, it all depends on the performance of the night and how, who does well and how that fight ends always. But, you gotta go in there guns blazing and try to finish him, and that's it.
Yeah, so do you feel like it's not clear enough that, again, the bantamweight division is really good right now. Do you feel like that number 1 contender fight between you and Moraes isn't clear enough where you go in there, win a decision, maybe you don't get the title shot? Are you sort of taking that fight with that mindset?
No, I think it's pretty clear enough. Other guys, you mentioned Assunção, but other guys are going to get a title shot next. Other guys are fighting, within the next couple months and fighting to be, pushed, as how can I say it? What's the best way? One of the guys are fighting within the next 3 months. They're going to be able to push and be like, all right, they get this win, now they get a title shot. You know what I mean? Marlon's off a huge win from Sterling and is on a roll. And, you know, he's being pushed. And you got someone like myself who is 5-0 in the UFC right now, and it's fighting Marlon. And you having these two people meet, you know, it just makes sense for it to be a number one contender fight, and the winner gets a title shot.
Yeah. Why is this fight happening on June 1st? When I saw this, I mean, when I saw the fight announcements, I'm thinking, okay, great, this is going to be a really fun fight. But when I saw the June 1st date on it, I was confused and not thrilled just because I don't want to wait that long for this fight. We're still months out from it. Why is it booked for so long from now?
That's what I was told. Mm-hmm. You know, we're trying to shoot for April, but April didn't work out. So June 1st it's going to be.
Are you bummed about this?
Nah, not at all. I just got back from vacation, and it gives me plenty of time to train and get ready for a 5-round fight in case it goes the distance.
Interesting. You last fought in July, of course, against Thomas Almeida. It'll be about 11 months. Well, the July fight was late July, so just over 10 months. That's still quite a long layoff. You're not concerned about that?
No, not at all. I mean, I took a 3-month camp for Cruz and then Leonard Her.
Yeah.
And then
that's
I was
true.
training hopefully to fight January 20th. There hasn't been really much of a layoff. I mean, the only layoff was a week for my vacation.
But other than that, you've been training and
yeah,
getting ready for a fight.
Training.
Not just training, but getting ready for a fight. Obviously, you were hoping to fight at 219. That didn't happen. So it's not like you're not in fight camp, yeah.
No, it's not like I'm not in shape. I missed 1 week for vacation. Even on vacation, we had a very fun honeymoon and did a lot of stuff that was active. So, it wasn't like I kind of took a break in a way. We had a fun time, my wife and I, and did a lot of different things from surfing to stand-up paddleboarding to horseback riding, all these different things we did. So we had a blast. Plus, we were on the beach and got to, enjoy some beautiful weather.
Do you mind me asking where you went?
Costa Rica. It's gorgeous. I recommend everybody should go.
Is that your first time there?
First time there, yep. First time there. We it was really cool. We went into the islands to like a surfing town, and we saw a couple. It was just beautiful. It was like a movie. Like you woke up every morning, walk into our villa where we had breakfast, the scenery. We actually heard. We got to see where Mel Gibson lives, and found out like Tom Brady lived a couple towns over. And it was a very happening spot and very popular spot. And there's a lot of people around, believe it or not. You think it's a small surf town, but there was a lot of, it's little towns, but there were a lot of people out and enjoying the weather. It was really cool.
Compared to other vacations, I mean, I don't know where you've been, where you haven't been, but compared to other vacations you've been on in the past, where does this compare?
Oh, it's at the top. It's got to be number one. We just enjoyed it. The people were so nice, the environment, the culture, everything over there was great. We had a blast. Was
it nice to sort of unplug from the MMA world just because people have been hounding you about, hey, are you fighting Rice, or you're fighting for the title, you're fighting Garbrandt, fighting Cruz, who are you fighting, this, that? Was it nice to sort of just get away from for a week or so?
Yeah, it was nice just to get a break and relax. I haven't had a break in a long time. Any vacations that my wife and I did was like a weekend thing or a 3-day thing. It wasn't anything that was something we could enjoy. So it was really nice to just really get away. We didn't have our phones there. We're in another country. There was no Wi-Fi at our villas. We had Wi-Fi, at the restaurant and a couple places we went, but we didn't really have to worry about much. It was nice just to relax and just focus on enjoying the vacation.
Now, back to the fight. Were you told why April wouldn't work? I mean, I guess looking at the schedule, you have 3 fights in April, all have main events. One's a pay-per-view, though. I mean, they could have thrown you on the Brooklyn card, Ferguson versus Khabib, maybe I guess not co-main because that's you and Rose, but...
I think it was just a miscommunication, and, we weren't the only ones offered for that card, and since I, told him that, when I get back from my honeymoon, I'll speak to him, we could figure something out. Because this was offered in the beginning of February, and we told him, listen, we can't make a decision right now. I'm going on my honeymoon. I'm like, we'll talk about it when we get back. And I guess they offered Barboza and Kevin Lee the same thing. And I guess they just got back faster with the answer, and we didn't. So I think that's pretty much just what happened. which is fine with me because I just took a vacation. I got back into the swinging. So right when I got back, the following Monday, I was training again. But I like not having to rush. I like having time to train and get ready for a fight. You know what I mean? If we would have took that fight, it would have been literally 8 weeks of camp. Started hard off right away, and then that last week is always media stuff and cut away, and that's it. So this is nice to have a good 3 months to train for a fight.
Yeah, and this is your first 5-rounder in the UFC, right? I'm just trying to look. I think first.
Yeah, it's my first 5-rounder in UFC. It'd be my third 5-rounder in general.
So that's something you're used to enough where it's not going to be too much of a worry.
No, not worry at all. I've trained I had 5 fights that were 5-round fights. I fought 2 times. I went the distance in King of the Cage. And then when I was in CFC, my 2 title fights were 5 rounds. But one of them I ended in first round, quick 16 seconds. And then the one before that ended in the third round was a TKO. So, it's not like I never trained for a 5-round fight before. It's not something I'm worried about. So that's why when they said, push it back to June 1st, I'm like, that's fine. It gives me more time to get ready. There's no rush to having to be in shape quick right away. I have more time to get ready. And I enjoy it. I mean, it's nice not to be in a rush for something.
Do you like the main event, not just because it's 5 rounds, but just because you're the main event? You're sort of the big fight on this fight night card. People are going to be wanting to talk to you and Moraes. You're sort of on the top of the bill, everything like that. There's certain perks that come with the main event slot, of course. Do you like that, or do you not care too much?
No, I think that was the biggest thing. That was one of the huge incentives why we wanted to even, push the fight more, and we said yes. To be a main event and headline a UFC card is great. It doesn't matter if it's a pay-per-view or Fox card, but it's a great thing. I mean, if you think about it, all the pay-per-view cards are headlined by title fights, and then if you headline a Fox card, that's you're in the spotlight. It's big time. It's really important, especially as a fighter in their career. So we were super excited about it. I get to go in there and headline a card for the UFC. It's like a dream come true. I'm excited for it. And it's one of the bigger reasons why we said, all right, you're pushing for more, you want to fight, main event fight, let's do it.
And do you feel like off a main event win that might give you just more of an argument for the next title shot or make it more likely?
For sure. Off a main event win, yeah. And, it always depends on your performance. You really put that, exclamation point at the end if you finish the fight or if you just dominate the fight and just kill. So, that's also really important as your performance of that night.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you were fighting Moraes, but on maybe a pay-per-view card, first fight on pay-per-view, although this shouldn't make a difference, I feel like with how the UFC runs, sometimes it could. If you had beaten him in the middle of the main card versus the main event, there's a slightly less chance of getting that title fight. It doesn't make any sense, but I feel like that could be the case.
Well, all eyes on you. I mean, people are there. You're the main event in the fight, and I don't care what people say. Unless you're the co-main event or main event on pay-per-view, you're just kind of a part of it, of the whole fight card. But when you're the main event of a fight, you're the whole card, and it's a great thing. So it's nice to get out there and to really have the spotlight on even more.
As far as the very top of the division, so just above you, you of course have the champion TJ Dillashaw, and then you have Cody Garbrandt, who's coming off the loss to Dillashaw. Cruz is still injured. He hasn't fought since the Garbrandt fight at the end of 2016. You said that you think Demetrius versus Dillashaw will happen next, right?
No, I said that's not happening.
Okay,
they're pushing for. They're pushing. They're going to have obviously the Cody and TJ rematch as much as TJ doesn't want it, and then Henry Cejudo and Demetrius Johnson is going to be. I guess they did something, somewhere someone didn't agree or whatever. It was too hard to make the fight. Something happened, and they switched around who's fighting who.
So I feel like having Garbrandt fight Dillashaw again, should that be made official? Because at this time, I think that's what will happen, but it's not official. That sort of eliminates one contender above you that could make the argument, hey, I deserve the immediate rematch before Jimmie Rivera gets his shot, if TJ had fought DJ sort of at the same time frame as your fight against Moraes.
I mean, the only person that really should get a shot would be Cody, because he lost the belt, and it was a close fight in the first round. In the second round, obviously, he got knocked out, but it could have went either way if he had a little more time in that first round. So that makes the most sense of a rematch besides that, Cruz lost the belt. He hasn't fought yet, and he's still hurt. And Assunção was hurt, and hasn't really fought anyone in the top 5. I mean, his last fight was against someone that was ranked 12 or 13. You know what I mean? So who has he beat that he should get a title shot? I mean, if he was fight, I think if him and Marlon were fighting, yeah, that should be, definitely a number 1 contender fight. But they're not, and he's not fighting. He's still out, hurt supposedly too as well.
When do you start training as if it's fight camp? And usually it's only an 8-week camp for most fighters. Do you not start hard training until end of April or so, or no, early April?
I already started. I started when I got back training on Monday. We were just negotiating and going over the contract and stuff like that, and other things that myself and my management group wanted. And I already started training hard for it.
Cool. Last question for you. I know we're still a ways out, and this could change, but what is your current prediction for the fight? How do you think you get the job done against Marlon Moraes in the main event of UFC Utica on June 1st?
Obviously, I want to get the KO. You know what I mean? I don't think the KO is going to come right away because he's a tough opponent, but I think it's going to come, especially in those championship rounds.
Awesome, Jimmy. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it, and it was great catching up. As always, before I let you go, remind my audience where they can find you on social media, and if there's anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout-out to, the floor is yours.
Sure, thanks. And, you can find me on social media at Jimmie Rivera 135 on Twitter, or just Jimmie Rivera on Instagram. And just, big thanks to my sponsors, Eat Clean Bro, who supply me my meals and get me ready for my fight, Tiger Fight Gear for all my equipment, and for my supplements, NutriBio.